Oh, you know, for years people said that punk rock was dead, and it was just a theory, and it never really went away. You know, it had its highlights. It scared people. You know, it rejuvenated people. Man, anybody that went and saw the Ramones ended up picking up a guitar, and they were lucky to know three chords. Man, they all learned together and stuff, and it was raw and awkward and rebellious and loud and full of energy and all this stuff. And people thought it disappeared during the metal years and stuff. And then Nirvana came out. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, punk's back!" And in truth, it never went away. It was just still underground. There were bands like Black Flag for years that were around, Bad Brains, Dead Kennedys, and all this stuff, all these bands, and that were still carrying it on. Sonic Youth, even though they called themselves No Wave, you know, all that stuff was going on. Then Nirvana came out, and everybody was like, "Oh, it's punk," and all this stuff. And what happened is what really happens to a certain, you know, to an extent, is that once you get in there. And punk was for people who, you know, really couldn't play guitar that well, and they weren't the greatest musicians in the world, but they were creative. And what happens is that they're still destined to die or change, evolve, because, you know, after a while, you learn those three chords, and you've got this instrument, and you want to learn more, you want to do more, you want to be creative, you want to expand and stuff like that. And that's kind of like what's kind of going on with my channel right now, okay? The reason I'm putting this out there is that, you know, I've made some off-the-wall videos the last couple of days. Some of it's for cabin fever, where it's been so cold and not wanting to get out. Some of it's been for the last 3 years, getting in this comfort zone, you know. And now it's like I feel like I've got people showing up at my house. You know, I'm getting company, and my house is a wreck. I don't usually live this way. It's been clean for forever, and the one time I kind of let it go, you know, people are showing up. I commented on a guy's channel saying it's funny you showed some Doctor Who stuff, because I just showed some Doctor Who books the other day, and that was in my phallic symbolism, you know, thing. And he said, "Hey, I might check it out." And I'm like, "Oh, great! He's coming now with some of the videos I made." For you new guys and new subscribers, thanks for making me feel like, you know, being creative has done something right, because you've done this. This has been going on for a while. But basically, my videos have been, you know, showing these epic hauls that I've got for great prices, the Howlermouse hustle, if you will. It's you know, it's been about pulling out older comics, you know, gems from the past that were overlooked, like Sword of the Atom, the miniseries, and just, you know, sometimes just reviewing comics and stuff, and just, you know, talking about comic book history, the real history, and I never really wanted to be negative. I never wanted to be, there's plenty of negative fanboy, you know, comic book people who are just never happy with anything. And let's be fair, you know, the last 2 years with Marvel and DC, they've made it really, really hard with some of the books that they've been putting out, you know. And I've always had this thing where, you know, it's kind of hard to really put down a band that's got the nerve to get up on stage. Somebody being creative and really putting themselves out there and stuff, because, you know, they're opening themselves up for criticism. And I've always had kind of like this philosophy: if you can do better, then get up and do it, you know. That's why with some of my, you know, videos got thumbs down for whatever reason and stuff. I'm like, well, let's see what you got. You know, I can respect somebody coming at me if they're, you know, showing me how it's done. You know what I'm saying? I think that makes sense. So what's going on here is that, like, I was going to sit here and do a haul video, and, you know, it's got a few little things, and just didn't have it in me. You know, I'd be going through the motions. I like when this stuff excites me, and I go through it, and, you know, I can tell you something about it and stuff. And I kind of pride myself on, the whole time I've been on this channel, it's never really been work. It's been something I've enjoyed, and I've enjoyed the feedback and stuff, because I like to think, to a certain extent, I'm almost completely myself on these things. You know, sometimes, you know, you can tell when I'm messing around, or, you know, or being extra polite. And that's the funny thing for you, you know, for you people that don't make YouTube videos and stuff, have been around. People seem to go through this thing where they find out that they feel like a host. You know, when you make a YouTube video, you're kind of inviting people into your area here. You know, it's kind of what it feels like. You end up having manners and stuff. So that's kind of why, like, when I commented on that guy's channel saying I just did a video and he was going to check it out, I was like, oh, great, coming over to my house is a mess. I've made a little music video, you know, just messing around. Great feedback on it. I really asked people, is this, you know, too stupid to be up and stuff, you know. wasn't so much ashamed of it. I just kind of wondered if I just might have shown something, you know, people would take out of context to be weird. You know, you get self-conscious, and I'm like, well, you know what? This is my channel. Things evolve, things happen. You know, I've talked about, you know, all these comic books and being positive and trying to show people stuff to, you know, to enjoy, you know, give it a chance, or maybe a book they never heard of. And the same thing's been done for me watching these videos after, you know, all these years of doing these videos, man. People have popped up stuff. Winter World, you know, we got Winter World over here. I never would have known that was out there, and I ended up falling the ass backwards into finding it for a really cheap price, you know. Stuff like that, you know. And this has happened before. I've done comic book message boards going back to 2003 where, you know, I introduced Commandy there to some people who were big Marvel zombies since the 60s and stuff. And it's just a great part of collecting, you know, the sharing of it. And then I started having like a running gag, okay? And it was with Booster Gold. And I'm telling you, man, I really thoroughly hate that character, right? But, you know, people, you know, I kind of I laughed it off, you know. It was my coping skill with Booster Gold, you know. Kind of act like I'm all disgusted just with his name and stuff. And it does. It puts the hairs on my back, you know. Just they stand up, you know. And so I did that video. Enough people have asked over the years, you know, why do you hate Booster Gold and stuff. So I did it, and it got me some new subscribers, and a lot of people watched the video, and it hit over 300, you know, views. And, you know, that's rock star numbers here, you know. Anybody should feel like a rock star if they get one view, don't get me wrong, but I'm just like, wow, you know. But I never wanted to be negative. And then all of a sudden I did the Justice League Detroit one. That's what I'm trying to say, you know. I've done these, I'm getting out of my comfort zone here and kind of venting on some of these books. I've kept the comics, the Justice League Detroit, and I've kept the comics, and I flipped through them, and I still remember them. They were still part of my collecting and growing up and stuff. And then Pink Echoes made a comment, and it's probably a joke. Don't get me wrong. You know, he's probably right in there with the gag. And he said that I made the book. I shit on the book so well. Now he wants to go and check it out. And that's when I was like, wow, okay, yeah. I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. Just hear me out here. But I mean, you know, I'm not saying I don't think he's really gonna go out and get the book and stuff. But that little comment was like, wow, you know. I kind of Mystery Science Theatered this comic book, this series, you know, that is god-awful, you know, and somebody's interested in going out and seeing it. It's so bad they want to go check it out. To me, it's like a B movie. You want to see this bad movie or something like that, you know. It's ironically funny or something like that. So, and then, you know, and then I've done, you know, you can go look at my videos. I had a little fun, you know, pointing out phallic images that are hidden on comic book covers and in the pages and all this stuff and stuff like that, which is, it's all still part of comics and stuff, even though it's a bit off color for me, you know. So that's what I'm telling you, man. I've gotten 15 new subscribers this week, you know, and I got a bunch last month, you know. So it's not so much the numbers and getting the new subscribers. I'm still appreciative and stuff. It's just they're kind of coming over to my house when I've got it like in disarray. Okay, so I'm in a transitional phase here where I'm playing around. I'm tired of playing the same 3 chords. Let me get it out of my system. Just hang in there with me, because it's always going to go back to comics, and I have such a passion for this hobby. I'm still going to be like pulling them out, and hopefully, you know, finding something you might be interested in reading and talking about comic book history stuff, you know, with what hits me. And a lot of this inspiration kind of comes from hearing other people talk about comics. I've kind of been lurking on Facebook a little bit more, where you know, due to the Christmas holidays, New Year holidays, and the weather, I've had a lot of time home. I work in a school, and you know, it's all still there. But there's some comic book pages I've been seeing and stuff, and some news that's been up there, and a lot of people that make YouTube videos are on the Facebook page. I'm going to segue here into something in just a second. And what one of the things that MA0001 put on there was that it was a market share report for comic books in comic book shops, if I'm remembering it right? And it's finally shown a decline with the big 2, and it showed IDW and Image and stuff getting a little bit more of that market share. And I read the article, and you know, it's marketing, but from what I can tell, they're saying there's other factors besides the fact that, you know, I don't want to be negative, but the last 2 years of DC and Marvel Comics has made it really hard, okay, really hard. The quality of books, storytelling, I think, is just, it's really hard. I'm not buying any Marvel Comics. That just kind of organically happened. I looked up, I wasn't getting any. And DC 52, and I hung in there, and I came in there, and they were canceling stuff left and right, and you had all the bad news that was coming out there, people getting fired and coming and going. I mean, I could rehash it all up. And you got to find some fun in this stuff. Some of the best works coming out is with the indie books, man. I mean, it's great. I haven't seen an indie scene like this so rich since the '80s. With Pacific and Eclipse and the rise of Dark Horse and stuff. We had Image in the '90s and all these other comic book companies, but it still wasn't the same. There's a quality there. There's a better quality there now. So, just get back on my train of thought here. I'm reminiscing now. See, we're still going to come back to the comic book history. Don't worry. So just kind of hang in there with me. All you new subscribers and stuff, I'm glad you're here, and I'm still going to do some experimental videos for me playing around and stuff. I'm going to show off some DVD collections. I'm going to show some other stuff because I'm going to start putting some of this stuff up. This looks nice, but if you saw this side of the room, it looks like a freaking hoarder or a serial killer lives here. This is the first time since collecting comics since reading comics since 1977, buying my first comic in 1979, that I've got a backlog of about 300 books that I've bought in the last 2 years that I have not read. I mean, that has never happened. I have never had a book longer than a week that I've never read. Usually it was buy them, read them while I'm in the car, or read them as soon as I get home. Rainy Sunday afternoon, pile up on a bed, turn on a little music, put in a cassette or something, maybe a little CD, and just read during a rainy day and stuff. And I keep going back to the older stuff, so, I don't want to be a negative fanboy. They've always been around, but they finally gave us something to bitch about. And I want to get away from that, maybe Mystery Science Theater, some old, some stuff. You know what I'm talking about. Give it a riff. It stinks, but it's ironically funny and stuff. The stories and stuff are. And I mentioned, Facebook a minute ago. The whole thing is that I have a Howler page. I mentioned it a few days ago, a Howlermouse page. Okay, what happens is this is a new page. That's what a lot of people don't understand, and I've been asked about it, and I've had to point it out. A lot of people have friended me on Facebook, and a lot of them we don't talk back and forth, but that's where they see my videos and they like it, or post it in there and stuff. But what I did is I did the Howlermouse page so everybody can shift over there, because my Facebook wall is just packed with the people I don't talk to and stuff like that. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it seems like it's just easier to have a Howlermouse page. It's 3 or 4 days old. Already 70 people are on it, and it's going to be the kind of page where I just don't display my new videos. I'll pop something on there every now and then, like some video on YouTube I found I think's cool, maybe a little joke here, a little post there. I'm not going to blow up your Facebook page, your wall when you get on Facebook. But come on over there. And what's going on over there is that, like, I put it out there, man, if you want to request of me to do a video or something like that, because usually I've had people track me down through my eBay seller page to send me a message asking me to do something. So this is a bit more accessible. Doesn't happen all the time, but it's been getting more frequent. And right now what's in the running is that if you put it up there and enough people like it, that's kind of like a vote, just stick it on there wherever and stuff. And what's in the running now, and I'll probably do both videos, is that one video that somebody wants me to do is they've watched my videos for a while, and I've talked about a book, Hero number 11. It's a caveman story with he gets superpowers. One of my favorite comic book stories of all time. And an X-Men book. I want to say it's like 179 or something like that. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but I love it because basically it's just an old bar brawl between Juggernaut and Colossus that Wolverine set up Colossus on, and it's more or less over a piece of ass. You just got to read the book. I'll review it again and stuff. And then the other thing is that Swamp Thing, and I'm not quite sure where they're going because it's been requested Swamp Thing through the ages. I've talked about doing a Swamp Thing, taking a few Alan Moore books and talking about them. So pop on over there, man, and like the page. I'll put the link in the bottom. If you got any requests or anything like that, or you just want to talk or just hang out, see what's going on, get on over there, man. And if you've liked me on my regular Facebook page, you might want to go over there and do that, because I want to be like cleaning house if it's people I don't talk to friend to friend. Nothing bad. It's just I got to I'm missing stuff when I do get on there. I don't play on Facebook that much, but when I do, I like to just keep it cleaned up there, and it's a lot more easier. So yeah, there you go, man. So the music's evolving. Just hang in there with me. Might play around a little bit, but it's always going to come back to the comics, man. It's always going to be what some of you guys that have been here since the beginning are going to be, because man, people have come and gone, and I've seen a few more people in the last month or two that are gone again, man. you get a survivor's guilt. It feels like a survivor's guilt. You start missing your old friends and how things used to be, but it all changes and it stays alive. So, all right, guys, carry on. Catch you later.